Welcome back to We Regret Nothing. I'm Sean, and today we reached the final chapter in our search for the best books of the 1940s. Over the last 2 episodes, Andrea, Michelle, and I worked our way through 20 books from the decade. We debated them, defended them, questioned them, and ultimately narrowed that list down to our top 10. Now comes the really difficult part. 10 books have to become 5. But remember, we are not asking which 5 books best represent the 1940s. We're asking a much simpler and somehow harder question. What were the 5 best books of the 1940s? So say if our time capsule is eventually opened by aliens, we want to give them the absolute best of what humanity produced during this decade. Not necessarily the most famous, not necessarily the most historically representative, and definitely not simply our personal favorites. We're looking for the books that deserve to stand at the very top. Books that delivered extraordinary writing, unforgettable characters, powerful ideas, incredible storytelling, and a lasting influence that still matters to us today. And that means some very good books are about to be left behind. So, Andrea, Michelle, and I have 10 finalists sitting in front of us. By the end of this episode, only 5 will survive and earn their place in our capsule. 5 books. 5 chances to tell the aliens this is what the 1940s could do at its absolute literary best. So, gloves are off. The debate begins now, and there is no room for sentimental picks. Michelle, what books are truly worthy of the title, the best books of the 1940s? All right, let's make the final cut. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi.
Hello, Andrea.
Sean.
Okay, why don't we start? Let me go back over the list of the top 10 books, just to refresh everybody's memory. Number 1 is The Lottery. Number 2, 1984. Number 3, Cry, The Beloved Country. 4, The Naked and the Dead. 5, All the King's Men. 6, Cannery Row. 7, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. 8, Death of a Salesman. 9, Animal Farm. 10, Goodnight Moon. So let's just jump right into it. I'm going to flip those and I'm going to switch number 1 and number 2 because Andrea is first. So I'd like to start with 1984.
Okay.
1984 is a novel. It's set in Airstrip 1, which is formerly Great Britain, a province of the totalitarian superstate Oceania. That one's real easy to say. The society is ruled by the omnipresent party and its enigmatic leader, Big Brother, who subjects the population to constant surveillance via telescreens. Andrea, talk to me about 1984.
This novel is nonstop assigned in school. The films watched. I have said before that I think the first time I read it, I was 12 because it was 1984. My mother had me read it, which shout out to my mom for having me read these things. Like, I make it sound like a chore, but I was a solitary child. And plus I loved books. So some people will be like, maybe you shouldn't have read that at that age. And that it's going to come up a lot as we go up in decades, but, fuck you. I'm fine. I'm well adjusted. But I have here that I've always read this book from a place of not us. And now where we are in 2026, it's becoming more and more us. And I don't even, you can be like, oh, you're one of those liberals. Number 1, yeah. But number 2, everybody should be afraid of this, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum. This book is terrifying, and now it's almost like, oh, I can see that happening next. What I did not know about this was that Aldous or Aldous? I can never say Huxley. I'm not having a stroke about the cat.
It's Aldous.
Is it just Aldous? I know. You just looked at Aldous like, she can't say this out. But Aldous Huxley, I had never read this, that he wrote a letter like 9 years after 1984 was published, wrote a letter to Orwell because they've always been compared to each other. And, A Brave New World was before 1984. But oddly enough, nobody ever says George was copying him. I guess it's only female authors that copy people, they get accused of it. That's going back to another decade. But Huxley said, hey, this, really like it, but it's better that like I had them rule like where they still got pleasure. Like you can have a totalitarian force, but don't make them brute like you did. Like if you give them some, some good stuff every once in a while, and I'm like, dude, did you really write that fucking letter? Like rule with a velvet glove with an iron fist in it? Like, no, it's terrifying. Even if taking out the comparisons to now, everything about this, and you can't trust anybody. And yeah, it's so well written. It's so bleak, and it just still holds up today.
Michelle?
I concur. And just the fact that all manner of idioms and figures of speech we still use today based on this, I think is a testament and like you said, that it's still completely part of the required reading of any English lit class from pretty much the second you enter high school to, is a testament to how well this was written and how, I go prophetic Orwell was going to turn out to be. So it's up there.
Michelle's point I made this isn't an all-encompassing list, but the ones that I think about, the words that we still use to describe some of these things: Orwellian, Big Brother, thought crime, newspeak, and Room 101 are ones that I'm familiar with. I know there's probably more, but those to describe government overreach, privacy violations, authoritarian behavior. But I mean, this book was written in the 40s, and I still hear these things talked about, these words used today. Again, this story follows Winston Smith, who's a low-ranking party member working at the Ministry of Truth. His job is to forge historical records and rewrite past newspaper articles so that they align with the party's current narrative. Privately, Winston harbors forbidden thoughts of rebellion, which is a thought crime, punishable by death or torture. His quiet rebellion intensifies when he enters into a forbidden romantic affair with a colleague named Julia, but they are eventually trapped and captured by the thought police. But Orwell modeled Oceana's regime largely after Stalinist Russia, Nazi Germany, drawing from firsthand observations of political propaganda and extremism during the Spanish Civil War, World War II. So this novel explores how authoritarian power can completely rewrite reality through specific psychological and social mechanisms. And then the other note that I took was the party slogans: war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. That last one, I'm super strong. But this paradox reflects the regime's reliance on psychological manipulation to make citizens accept logical contradictions. So
I think even now, if I just put this in, and I mean, because Les Monbees is a raper and an asshole. But Big Brother, it's a reality show, and people are all like, this is so cool. There's cameras everywhere and they know what's going on. I'm like, motherfucker, this doesn't come from, but we even like the society we softened spying on people actively 24/7, where this is like, it's hell to know that they can see you no matter what you're doing. And now we're like, I can win $1 million. And I might end up going on Survivor after this. Like, number one, fuck you, CBS. But, which I guess is kind of like part of the thought police now.
No.
But, yeah, that's all. I just wanted to say, fuck you, Barry Weiss.
any other fuck yous for the show today, or?
Oh, yeah, there's one for each book.
Okay. So number 2, The Lottery. The Lottery is a short story by Shirley Jackson that was first published in the New Yorker, June of 1948. Story describes a fictional small American community that observes an annual tradition known as the lottery. This is intended to ensure a good harvest and purge the town of bad omens. The lottery, its preparations, and its execution are all described in great detail. However, it is not revealed until the end what actually happens to the person selected by the random lottery. What happens to him, Michelle?
The person who gets the dot gets stoned to death by the rest of the community.
Well, I mean, Yeah.
My people had some dumb shit like this back in the day too. They just called it the thing, but it was a sacrifice to the gods to have a good harvest. But I can't hate on it too much. But Michelle, talk to me about the lottery.
I think I read this in, maybe it was 8th grade. Assigned by Henrietta Orr.
Shout out.
Rest in peace. She was a hell of a lady. This legit, like when they say, like, you read the whole thing, right? You're reading through it, but you don't know what the lottery is yet. And there are some context clues in that the people are they're excited, but they're also a little bit nervous about it. And then we're at the end, when she gets hit in the head with the first rock while she's bitching about how unfair the lottery, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, completely fucked me up. Like, I remember thinking, like, what the hell did I just read? But also, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked it. So, yeah, I think it's a little bit of a lesson in, careful what you wish for. And everything's okay until it happens to you. Nothing is a problem until it's your problem. Because in the book, or in the story, Tessie, the one who ends up getting stoned to death, she first of all, she doesn't worry about it at all.
No.
Like, she's in fact late.
Yep.
To the little
She
ceremony.
had dishes to be done.
Yeah, she was late. And then she's because she forgot that it was the
How
day.
How comfortable are you in your...
Right. So then she gets there and she's basically complaining the whole time. And then her husband draws the slip from all the families. And then when that happens, your family goes back into the drawing with one slip of paper for every member of the family. And whoever draws the marked slip is the one who gets stoned to death. So she's completely bitching about it, and then she ends up drawing the marked once her family gets chosen. And it's everything was okay every other year until it happened to her. So
yeah, she threw a rock every year?
Oh,
she threw a stone.
Yeah, it's wild.
They all did. I'm not saying that, but
her son is one of the first people that hit her with the rock, which was wild to read as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not done through any, like...
Nope, they're just like, this is what
you do.
Yep, sorry, Mom. Like, but, corn's got to come in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's chilling, and it's short enough that for someone, as to read as a kid, it kept moving. Like, the pace was good, and you were, like, anticipating, like, what actually is this? With a S-tier payoff.
Mm-hmm.
An S-tier payoff at the end. So, yeah, I felt like I didn't know if we could count it because it's not technically a book. But
it's literature.
It's probably
literature.
I mean, it's probably, I'm sure, probably considered one of the best, if not the best short story in American literature.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that, Andrea?
I do. I know. Shocking. I have stuff to add to it. Number 1, loves Shirley Jackson. Number 2, discovered that our version of The Lottery, which is all her short stories, The Lottery is the last in it, our anthology. The last 5 pages are missing. I need to buy a new copy, but have to keep that because it has all her other short stories.
That's crazy.
Discovered this the other day. I was like, who fucked with this? You can't even tell. So obviously I bought it in that format because I never flipped to the last page because I'm just that person. There's so much in this. But going back and rereading it, pardon me, reminded me of like how I never saw, like, it's almost Druidian in the fact of they have done this since time immortal, since they first came, where they put their names on wood chips.
Right.
And you hear about that there were rituals before, but they've slowly kind of sloughed those off as they've modernized.
Right.
But this is what I saw, and then I will,
like, they don't want to replace the box, even though it's but it's not the original box.
But it's not,
either.
but pieces of wood from the original box.
Yeah.
And you wonder, like, but this is what, when Shirley Jackson's The Lottery appeared in the New Yorker, 25 states, 2 territories, and 6 foreign countries sent in the largest mail ever received by that magazine. on a piece of fiction. A little masterpiece, horrible, powerful and haunting, driving me crazy, superbly contrived, cancel my subscription, beautifully written, nights of unrest were a few of the comments on one of the most unusual stories of our time. And go, God damn, pills. Sorry.
No, well, she got like death threat mail, just to herself.
Yes.
Right? So,
And didn't you say like her mom was like, why the fuck did you write this?
yeah, her own mom was like, why do you young people have to write this crap? Can't you write a story?
You should
with a
read my other
happy
shit,
ending?"
Mom.
Yeah. So,
Especially read We've Always Lived in the Castle. That one gets under, yeah. Sorry, babe.
No, if I may, just to trail off Andrea's, I'm repeating what you just said, but it leads into another piece of this. The New Yorker received a torrent of letters inquiring about the story, and they still report the most mail this magazine has ever received in response to a work of fiction. Not the 40s, just ever. Many readers demanded an explanation of the situation in the story, and a month after the initial publication, Jackson actually responded, writing an op-ed in the San Francisco Chronicle. So on July 22nd, 1948, it was longer, but I snipped this piece of it from her.
Okay.
Explaining just what I had hoped the story to say is very difficult. I suppose I hoped by setting a particularly brutal ancient rite in the present and in my own village to shock the story's readers with a graphic dramatization of the pointless violence and general inhumanity in their own lives. Again, there was more to it than that, but that part stood out the most to me. But to go back, when she said in my own village, I was like, that's interesting. So Jackson lived in North Bennington, Vermont, and the comment revealed that she had Bennington in mind when she wrote The Lottery. But then further, in a 1960 lecture, printed in her 1968 collection, Come Along With Me, she recalled the hate mail that she received in 1948. Then to Michelle's point, she says, one of the most terrifying aspects of publishing stories and books is the realization that they are going to be read and read by strangers. I had never fully realized this before, although I had, of course, in my imagination, dwelt lovingly upon the thought of the millions and millions of people who are going to be uplifted and enriched and delighted by the stories I wrote. It had simply never occurred to me that these millions and millions of people might be so far from being uplifted that they would sit down, open a pad, and write me a letter. I was downright scared to open. Of the 300-odd letters that I received that summer, I can count 13 that spoke kindly to me, and they were mostly from my friends. Even my mother scolded me. Dad and I did not care at all for your story in the New Yorker, she wrote sternly. It does seem, dear, that this gloomy kind of story is what all you young people think about these days. Why don't you write something to cheer people up? The New Yorker actually, so the New Yorker kept...
phase, Mom.
What'd you say?
I said, it's not a phase, Mom.
The New Yorker kept no records of the phone calls, but letters addressed to Jackson were just forwarded to her by the New Yorker.
That's nice.
That's so shitty.
That's really shitty.
That's like some of their cartoons.
That summer, she regularly took home 10 to 12 forwarded letters each day. She also received packages weekly from the New Yorker containing letters and questions addressed to the magazine or the editor, Harold Ross, plus carbon copies of the magazine's responses mailed to letter writers.
Can you imagine having to go and get that from the postmaster or the postmistress, and they're just glaring at you because they're like, who am I supposed to be in the story, bitch?
Yeah.
Like it's a story.
So
it's terrifying.
I had a bunch of the things. So like there was a 1951 radio version of this on NBC Presents. Had some interesting people, but then there was a television adaptation on Albert McCleary's Cameo Theater. South Park did an episode on it. Britney's New Look. There was a 1969 film.
Isn't that the one we watched in school?
I think
like
so.
I think that's the one that we watched in
Olive Dunbar, Jim Bowles, William Fawcett. Ed Begley Jr. in his third film appearance is in this one.
I just remember her at the
watch
end.
Was it in California? Fellows, California?
That part I would never be able to remember.
Just don't bring up the Dan Cortez one.
I left it off. But I would like to say this. In 2016, a young man named Miles Hyman created a graphic novel adaptation titled Shirley Jackson's The Lottery, the authorized graphic adaptation.
Oh,
How is it authorized? He is her grandson.
Yeah.
Shirley Jackson's grandson, Miles Hyman. His version abbreviates the wording of the source work and relies on graphics to portray other aspects of the narrative.
I would like to
Yeah,
put that.
He also wrote his own introduction. Allison Ward of the Houston Chronicle wrote the graphics, push a little further than his grandmother's words did.
I would hope so.
So I just thought it was interesting.
I would like to.
Her grandson did a graphic novel on it called Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. So look that up if you're interested. Michelle, I want to commend you again. That was a very good. You get one.
That was so good, Michelle. That was beautiful.
Well done.
Thank you.
Number 3, Cry, the Beloved Country. This is a 1948 novel written by South African author Alan. Oh boy, Patton. We did this last time. I think it's Patton, right? Yeah, okay. Set in the beautiful yet deeply fractured landscape of South Africa just before the official implementation of apartheid, the book stands as one of the most influential works in South African literature. Explores the devastating social effects of systemic racial injustice, rural-urban migration, and the breakdown of traditional tribal society. And that is Andrea.
It's same as I said when we first discussed it. The film adaptations of this are beautiful and are definitely worth the watch if you're somebody who prefers to see a book rather than read a book. No judgment.
See a book set.
See a book set. but it is. But I think one of the things that's always kind of brought me down or sad in books is when somebody's death, then you're like, but they didn't have to die, but they did, because then you get the book. Like you get these two fathers come together. It opens up, I can't remember Arthur's dad's name. Is it James? James Jarvis, Mr. Jarvis.
James Jarvis.
Okay. But it opens up before his son is, an indigenous right. It's things where it's like these kids today, they just, and you're like, fuck, he's like the sacrifice that is going to bring good. I mean, this is pre-apartheid and then apartheid, but bring about and open people's eyes and minds and asshole. Sorry, I was talking about the cat.
Oh, okay. Probably should separate that.
Yeah, I'm going to separate that, everybody. But it is, two fathers losing sons. It's not. There's no difference in them losing their sons. Obviously the way they did, but
sure,
they're both two grieving fathers. It doesn't matter that one's black, one's white, one's poor, one's well off. Like grief is grief, and it's horrific in all its circumstances. And I think this book does a very good job of balancing it. And this book, for me, you can understand almost every character. Whereas there's other ones on our list or other ones that were on our list where I'm like, I don't fucking get this person, and I would worry about myself if I did. But in this, it's beautifully written.
Michelle?
Again, I concur. I think it's less about where it's set and who, and the, professions or of the people than it is about two fathers who lose their sons and then find a way to come together to deal with both that and what's going on in the country and all of that. So it's, these are going to be hard.
These are, I know.
I can't.
Seriously, that was what when Sean just said. Andrea, I was like, I don't want to talk about them. Okay. All 10 can go.
It's just, it's very.
Math changes. You know that. Math is very changeable.
2 + 2 = 5. As George Orwell.
Duh.
Okay. Because the only universal constant is math.
I
the one thing
you learn that in Mean Girls, and not everything in Mean Girls is true. It's not a documentary, but you're just going to keep glaring at me. Okay.
Even go.
All right.
Go here.
The only thing I have outside of what has been discussed is just the the title of the book is taken from this sentence: "Cry the beloved country for the unborn child that is the inheritor of our fear." I did not know that until I did this. So Andrea already mentioned two great feature films made based on this book. One in 1951, Canada Lee and Sidney Poitier. Another in 1995, James Earl Jones and Richard Harris. Both great. Both different, but great.
R.I.P. to the greats.
Number 4, The Naked and the Dead. This is a 1948 novel, a debut novel by American author Norman Mailer, widely celebrated as one of the finest English language war stories ever written. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, let's just jump into Michelle.
I think that this is very much like, first of all, it's like a debut novel, 25 years old. It's crazy work. Like, but they, like we've talked about before, write what you know. So because Mailer was in was he in the army or was he a Marine?
He was in the army.
He was in the army. Okay. So he used those experiences and then wanted to show people, right, like, here's what it's really like out there, and that people from different walks of life can, because when you're in the shit, as it were, you need to find, and also that the same kind of shit that happens outside of war,
Still,
like competition and pettiness and ambition and all of those things still happen. It's just it's just a microcosm of that, because you're all in this small, in this case, a platoon of guys all together with a common goal, but not everybody's goal or way to get there is exactly the same. I appreciate that it is very honest in its, like, portrayal of all of the people. It's hard to like characters who do some of the shit that they do, but I think that's kind of the point too. Like,
yeah.
Andrea, anything else?
No, I concur. It is what Michelle says. It's always hard to read a novel where you don't agree or like somebody, but you understand who they are, where they're coming from, or you come to understand. This is a fantastic debut novel. He should have been able to say fuck if he could.
Yeah, word. What the hell?
If he could go overseas to die for God and country, he can say fuck in his book. Like the fucking Pilgrims. But yeah, it's good. And I'm not a fan of World War II books. Oddly enough, I'm more a fan of the television shows. I just want to again shout out the Pacific never gets the love that it deserves, just like the Marines never did in World War II. Just saying, but it's stop glaring at me. But yeah, it is so good. And I could see some people not wanting to read this because you were over here, and it's like I think people like to romanticize war. My guy's over there fighting, my son's over there, he's doing all this, and it's like you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear picture of my family. Here's a cigarette. Here's this. Shoot you in the face. Yeah, you shot somebody's dad in the face. And yeah, and
I think it's interesting as we go forward and we get into like novels and probably more movies as we move into like the 70s and 80s, how much more graphic these kinds of portrayals become, because I think there's a element of when Vietnam.
That's what I think it was Vietnam where
people were like,
hey, this was
enough of this bullshit where we like, all they show you is the ticker tape parade and the, soldier kissing, like that.
No,
shit. Like, that's not what this was at all. So I think it's interesting that we'll be able to kind of compare something like The Naked and the Dead to some, two things later on when they were much more honest and graphic. And again, maybe just the times, right?
Yeah.
Like, But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of, like, when we get to the Deer Hunter, for instance, there's going to be, some good comparisons. I think
Michelle, bring up the Deer Hunter. I don't want her on this panel anymore. That
was my pop's favorite movie.
God.
All right, so getting back to this book, the South Pacific Theater during World War II. This is based on a fictional Japanese-held island, and follows an army platoon of 14 foot soldiers, essentially. Just and I like that uses the kind of time machine flashbacks to detail each of those characters' civilian the background before they got here. This book explores the psychological trauma and brutal physical reality of battle, of war. And then y'all kind of brought this up, probes fascism, power dynamics, social class, race, the futility of war. There's a lot of themes baked into this thing. And then drawn from Mailer's military service in the Philippine campaign. This was adapted into a major Hollywood feature film in 1958 as well. So yeah.
Where it still cleaned up. It's 58.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, number 5, All the King's Men. This is published in 1946 by Robert Penn Warren. The book traces the rise and fall of Willie Stark, a populist politician in the American South, modeled loosely on Huey Long, as seen through the eyes of his aide, Jack Burton. Andrea Burton. That is Andrea.
This is good. This is good. There's not a lot more to say about this that I feel that we didn't say in the last reel. This is also one, though, I have to say that I prefer the last movie made over the book. It's probably the casting too. But yeah, I have a hard time with a lot of books set in the South, especially around politics, regardless of their bent. Maybe I just have a problem with politics. Maybe I just have a problem with politics.
I have a problem with books.
I know. I've been to a few of your burnings. But, it's a showing your face is the best. You're like, did she just fucking say that out loud? She did. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. It's very well written. It's a classic for a reason. There's a reason that they keep adapting it or kind of taking part, like True Colors. If anybody, that movie, by the way, is terribly underrated. But that has bits of it. Actually, it has a lot of it. Actually, maybe it ripped it off a lot. I still love True Colors. Young fucking James Spader, man, all day. What were we talking about?
Exactly. Books of the 1940s, specifically All the King's Men.
It's a very well written, long-standing book. I feel that it still holds up today in a lot of ways, and yeah, 8 out of 10 would recommend.
Michelle,
I sort of concur. I don't want to get
with what, True Colors or?
No, I just think that this was like a more in-depth kind of peek behind the curtain kind of look at what people maybe thought they knew about how politics worked, and particularly in the South. And then this kind of, ripped the veil off so that people could see, dramatized certainly, but kind of see the kind of dealings and the backroom shit that happens that we are all now terribly aware of.
Yeah.
And I think it does a good job of showing you kind of like what a person is willing to do, put up with, or facilitate in order to get the things that they want.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh shit, I forgot that Jude Law played Jack Burton in the 2016 version. I was like, who played Jack Burton?
Is it 2006 or 2016?
2006. 2006.
So this book won the
2006. Sorry.
Pulitzer Prize in 1947, and then adapted into a film in 49 that won the Academy Award for Best Picture, and then another in 2006. but it's interesting. Your last sentence, Michelle, you were talking about Jack and what. So I, I'm a curious. Sometimes my curiosity gets me in trouble, I guess. I did basically like a semester of some kind of American literature here, but the Jack's philosophy. I found the 3 stages of Jack's philosophy from this book: the Great Sleep, the Great Twitch, Spiderweb Theory. Why did I do this? I don't know. But the Great Sleep, otherwise known as total avoidance, entering a state of deep metaphorical hibernation for weeks to escape painful choices or hard realities triggered by crisis like losing your first love, Stella, or uncovering ugly truths. The goal is seeking complete numbness by treating the passing of time as if it doesn't matter. Move then into the Great Twitch, which is blind materialism, believing all human beings are just involuntary automatic reflexes like a dead frog's leg twitching to electricity, invented after a shocking revelation about his past to strip away his personal guilt, concluding that because free will is an illusion, nobody is really responsible for anything that they do.
Sorry, go on.
That leads into the spiderweb theory, realizing finally the universe is an enormous interconnected web where touching one strand shakes the entire web. Realizing his actions directly caused the tragic deaths of his close friend and his biological father. Finally embracing the ultimate truth that every choice carries consequences, linking history, guilt, and responsibility forever. So the question that I have that I didn't answer is, did Jack truly change by the end? Or did you just find a new way to hide from the world?
Oh, wow. I don't think I...
See what I did to myself? And I couldn't even answer the question.
Yeah, but why'd you do a test?
Because I'm sorry.
You can have internal dialogue.
I can't.
No, I'm the one who can't. You can.
Did Jack change, or did he just find a new way to cope?
It's a great question.
Okay.
You can teach that next semester.
Number 6, Cannery Row. Cannery Row is John Steinbeck's vivid portrait of Monterey, California during the Great Depression. This novel replaces a traditional plot with a mosaic of interconnected vignettes about a marginalized community. Michelle.
We stand Steinbeck. I caution to call it a party time novel because it's kind of about a party, but it was a break from kind of all of the depressing shit. And then we mentioned last time that the group of soldiers that he encountered were like, please no more about the fucking war and depressing shit.
Can we just laugh a little? Does anyone remember laughter?
I really, listen, I already loved Steinbeck and his stuff, but that was very endearing when I read that. I was like, that's very
listening to your...
Yeah, just like having, meeting a couple of guys or whatever and having them go like, hey, cool, but can we just can you
imagine being those people though, like telling Steinbeck what you want? Like,
fair enough. Yeah, you'd be like,
no, I mean,
well.
it's kind of like, wow, you must have felt like you could, which kind of makes me think about, like I said, short of his dedications. I do love Steinbeck.
Yeah, I think it's and it's fun, right? It's a fun read through. The characters are interesting. They're, and that he based Doc after like his best friend, and just like the whole interaction between Mac and those guys and how they interact within the community, and that it was really a community, right? Nobody cared that there were a group of dudes just like squatting in, like nobody cared, and they looked out for each other, and the grocer, was also like everybody just it was a true community, and I really like that about it.
Yeah, that's a really good way to just if you did one sentence, it's a true community.
Yeah,
I like that.
So you brought up Doc. Do you know who Doc is based on?
It was his pal who was also a marine biologist.
Well, let's talk about his pal. His pal's name is Ed Ricketts.
Yeah,
Ed Ricketts.
Is he my uncle?
Ed Ricketts was a pioneering marine biologist whose work fundamentally changed how scientists look at seashore ecosystems. Instead of just classifying dead creatures in a laboratory, he actually championed the field of intertidal ecology, which is the study of living organisms and their direct relationship to their wave-swept environments. Before Ricketts, so before 1939, textbooks categorized marine life using strict alphabetical taxonomy. Like crabs are crabs no matter where they live. They group them all together.
Yeah.
Ricketts co-authored a book in 1939 called Between Pacific Tides, which rejected this method. And today, published by Stanford University Press, this book remains a core foundational book for marine biology students generations later. So Ricketts ran a real world biological supply house on Cannery Row called the Pacific Biological Laboratories. And then in 1941, Ricketts and Steinbeck charter a purse seiner boat called the Western Flyer and spend 6 weeks in Baja, California, where they collected, cataloged, and mapped over 480 species of marine invertebrates. The discoveries, the expedition successfully uncovered 40 species that were entirely new in the world of science. Then, I don't want to bring everybody down, but it matters. But then in 1948, while driving across a blind railway crossing in Monterey, Ricketts' car was struck by the Del Monte Express train. He succumbed to his injuries 3 days later. Steinbeck, obviously devastated by this, they say Ricketts was Steinbeck's intellectual anchor, his collaborator, and as Michelle said, the real-life inspiration for Doc in the book Cannery Row. Steinbeck became a bit of a shut-in for a while, and that led to his divorce from his second wife, Gwen, and then he just fell into a deep, listless depression that lasted 2 years, just about 2 years. Then he started to come out of, he finds his third wife, Elaine, and then he thought the best thing he could do, he wrote a sequel to Cannery Row. And that's called Sweet Thursday. Sweet Thursday is Steinbeck's 1954 sequel to Cannery Row, shifting the narrative from the hardships of the Great Depression to the uneasy transition of post-World War II America. The book features a more traditional romantic plot while retaining the humor and eccentricities of the original cast. But the iconic sardine canneries have completely shut down due to a massive decline in local sea life. Lee Chong has sold his general store to a shady entrepreneur named Joseph and Mary Rivas.
I never read the second book.
And then there's a new madam. So following Dora Flood's death, her older sister Fauna takes over the Bear Flag restaurant brothel.
Dora and Fauna.
Fauna shifts focus toward mentoring her girls to secure respectable marriages. Doc, this is where it matters. Doc returns from serving in the Army to find his business, Western Biological Laboratories, in shambles. He suffers from a profound post-war restlessness and listless depression. And then enter Susie, a tough but tender-hearted young woman, arrives in town and reluctantly takes a job at the brothel. Fauna immediately recognizes her potential and decides she is the perfect match to heal Doc's lonely heart. Much like the first novel, Mac and the boys from the Palace Flophouse attempt to help Doc by scheming to bring him and Susie.
Stop trying to help, boys.
Naturally, their initial efforts go hilariously wrong. But why I said all of that was the novel was specifically written with a stage adaptation in mind, but it served as the basis for the 1955 Rodgers and Hammerstein Broadway musical Pipe Dream. But while Cannery Row was a celebratory tribute written while Ricketts was alive, Sweet Thursday read more like a bittersweet elegy. Steinbeck used the book to bring his friend back to life on the page and gave him the happy ending, the romantic healing, and the escape from depression that apparently the real Ed never got to experience.
If they ever made
I was touched by that.
a movie, and they just based Ed based on number one, Ed's fucking hot.
I saw a picture of him.
John Krasinski, anyone?
Oh my.
I
Right?
did see a
That's the
picture
real Ed?
of Ed, yeah.
Yeah.
Ed was a good looking
He was.
bro.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I mean,
burnt
dare I say brilliant.
Yeah.
What he did for ocean science and all of that was pretty amazing. So, okay, sorry. Number 7, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I would like to start this part off by saying I was incorrect. I was off on my Looney Tunes. So I went back and looked after I said it was Sylvester the Cat. I apologized to Bugs Bunny. The 1947 episode, A Hair Grows in Manhattan. At the end, Bugs Bunny shows the pack of menacing dogs who are chasing him, the book, whereupon they turn away from him and run to Brooklyn, presumably to urinate on the tree that grows in Brooklyn. So let me just set the record straight on that. But
I do love how you got that all like the kid wise.
yeah, but I also in Looney Tunes in Sentimental Over You, Pepe Le Pew shows multiple in that episode. Multiple dogs are all like gathered around looking through the window of a bookstore, and it was A Tree Grows in. They went to that one a couple of times. I remember all those. So okay, so A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, published in 1943. American coming-of-age novel that chronicles the life of Francie Nolan as she navigates poverty, family turmoil, and personal growth in the Williamsburg slums of Brooklyn during the early 20th century. Andrea.
It's for some semi-autobiographical. It's really well written. She still makes the characters well-rounded and not just seen one way, which, I mean, it's her life. Like, you can say what you want about the people. You can write them how you will. You feel for everybody, one way or another. I mean, I know I'm giving a very kind of generic black and white rundown. I'm like name redacted doing a book report in my 12th grade English class. He was not good at it. But it's, I just really want her to be, I love how it's written in parts.
Mm-hmm.
I want her to be okay. I want her to be successful. I was so mad at the mom at parts, but then I also understood the mom at parts. Whoever cast the original movie cast brilliantly, because I was thinking about like how Dorothy McGuire plays Annie. Is that the mom? Annie Nolan? Katie Nolan? Katie Nolan. But in thinking about it, like, I was like, God, she's the casting such a strong mother figure. Well, yeah, that's also the mom in Old Yeller. So and she played a mom a lot, but like they got the casting so correct with the character in the book. Like you instantly knew there was going to be flaws and favorites, and yeah, it's a good fucking book.
Sure.
I agree. This was an easy read for me because it's split into the separate books, and it's a well-written, sweet kind of coming of age story, where you're kind of rooting for everybody. And I forgot about the part, I reread this a couple of days ago, but that Katie actually kills a dude. There's like a child molester rapist dude who follows Francie.
What? I don't remember that.
In the third book, and tries to attack her like right before her like 14th birthday, and Katie shoots and kills him. Good. So when you're say like kind of mad at the mom sometimes, but you get it. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I had forgotten about that part, which
remember
is crazy
that.
to say you forgot about the part where
somebody
a mom protects her child from a crazy fucking lunatic. Yeah.
Wow.
I think probably because that's in the same book where Johnny dies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're more focused on
but
maybe that part. But yeah. And that's crazy. I forgot. And then the new baby's born in that same chunk of book. So
there's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. There is a lot going on. Again, this is gonna suck.
I'm really not.
It's gonna suck.
That really would not. I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Can we just not?
No, we have to. So if I can defend Michelle a little bit from any critics out there, in the last episode when we talked about this book, and she had mentioned assigned by a black teacher, about people, she thought, okay, so you already mentioned Jay-Z, but I did find so many references from rappers about this book. Jay-Z makes a reference twice. somehow, some way from the Blueprint 2 and interlude from the Black album, he drops A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. And then on Black Star's track Respiration, Talib Kweli refers to A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. My favorite, Positive K's 1992 album, the #1 song is A Flower Grows in Brooklyn. And from his album that's called The Skills Dat Pay Da Bills. Just want to say. Anyway, and there's more. I just can't.
2 hours in case you need to look.
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact. Anyway, the other thing that I learned was, the tree that she's talking about, that the tree that grows in Brooklyn, is a tree of heaven. I'm not going to try and say the actual name of it, but
we don't get the genus.
you want me to embarrass myself? Ailanthus altissima. Well, that was pretty close. Anyway, that tree is native to China and Taiwan, but has become a major invasive species all across North America and Europe because this thing, it needs nothing. It needs no soil. It can be in poor soil. It needs nothing. A single female tree could produce over 300,000 wind dispersed seeds per year. It also sends out aggressive underground root sprouts to form dense thickets. So the point is that this tree thrives in urban tenement yards because it can grow in poor soil and needs no care. And can just take over a yard. And that, I thought, symbolized kind of the resilience and survival of the community in this book. I thought it was a good kind of central metaphor to the whole thing, but who cares what I think? And number 8, Death of a Salesman, as Michelle pointed out, it's a play. But no, this is a 1949 stage play by American playwright Arthur Miller. We went over this but Willie Loman lives in Brooklyn with his wife Linda and 2 grown sons, Biff and Happy. He's a salesman who spent his whole life following the rules. He's raised his sons to believe that if they also follow the rules, they can make something of themselves. But Willie has come to the realization that his life might be a failure. His dreams for himself and his sons are crumbling. Biff can't keep a job. Happy isn't, happy. Willie and Linda struggle to make payments on their old house that's surrounded by newer apartment buildings. In order to deal with the failures of life, Willie escapes by remembering the past and fantasizing about how things could have been. In doing so, he loses touch with reality and makes plans to commit suicide. 8 is Michelle.
We did kind of go in depth about this, and it's, it's a depressing banger from start to finish, but it is, there's a reason it's revived, every, 5 years or so, because it's just it's really, we say this a lot, but it is really well written. There's no one really to root for because you're supposed to at least sympathize with Willie, which you can do, but it's kind of his own making, right? Circumstances he's dealt, are what they are, but he really is not doing himself any favors throughout this entire play for making any effort to make it any better. He's just like, the end goal is, the only way I can make it better is basically if I'm not here, and just try to fix what's wrong in our family with my death, which is not
you nailed it when you said, listen, and we're not, suicide is a horrific thing. It is absolutely horrific to imagine that you're in such a place that you think not existing is like, that's your cure.
Answer. Yeah.
It is horrible. But when Michelle said that when people say it's a selfish act, which we both think are asshole things for people to say, but Willie Loman is a selfish person, and his last act is again for Willie Loman.
Correct.
I cannot stand Willie Loman, and just when I have a little kernel of sympathy or empathy or any of the thieves for Willie, he goes and shits on it, which is so well written. Like I fall for it every time. It's like Lindsey Buckingham showing up with that. What's up with that? He thinks he's going to be able to be interviewed. But it's like, every time I'm like, okay, all right. Wait, what?
Yeah.
What? So, it's
Well done, Arthur Miller.
Good on you. Not a great husband to some famous actresses, but God damn, this is so good.
Mhm.
This is such a good play. And like Michelle said, that's why it gets revived constantly,
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, let's see so-and-so.
Yeah,
chew on
and
this.
it's on a lot of both, stage and screen actors' bucket list.
Yes.
Play Willie
Yep.
Loman. It's that kind of a role because of just the nuances of a guy who's not nuanced
Yeah.
at all.
No.
Right? So, yeah.
And he himself would be shocked to hear that you referred to him that way.
Correct. And that's part of the problem
Yeah.
with Willie.
Yeah. Did Jed ever play him? Because I can
you
see
know what?
Jed playing him.
I don't know, but he would be so good at it.
He'd be so good at it.
Shut up, Jed Slaughter.
Yay!
He would be. He would be fantastic. I don't think so, because I can't imagine that in the time that I've known him, that had he been playing Willie
wouldn't have
Loman,
skipped
that I
it.
wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah.
I'd had to been out of the goddamn country, I think,
Mhm.
to miss it. So, yeah, I don't think so. But you're right. He'd be so good at it. He's just so good, uber talented. Anyway, yes.
One of the reviews, because I go through and read the reviews on a lot of these books. And somebody in just one of the reviews, is a throwaway line, but it caught my attention. It's talking about the American dream. And I think I know what that is, but then I realized I hear people today talking about the American dream. And I was like, what exactly is it? And I don't know why. I'm just doing a lot of university level work on this, and I don't need to, and I understand that.
No.
But this is how my brain works. But I had to try to write down what I thought the American dream was. And I looked up, some definitions and some stuff, but the promise that life can be better for every person in this country if he or she has the opportunity and willingness to work hard, regardless of their background or social class. I'm not saying I believe that. I'm saying that is the definition of the American dream, and it's bullshit.
Yeah, I'm 10 toes down on the American dream is a lie. 10 toes down.
It's bullshit.
It's a lie.
But so that led me to Arthur Miller then, because I'm like, well, Arthur Miller wrote this, and it's actually about the American dream. And so Arthur Miller, born in New York City in 1915. So 1915. So he was 15 years old in 1930. So by the time he was a teenager, his family, like many others, were struggling through the Great Depression. His father, who had a very successful clothing business, lost the business, and the family had to move to a smaller 2-bedroom house in Brooklyn. And so it was pretty clear that the Depression, the after effects of World War II, had some influence on Arthur Miller. I think I feel pretty confident in saying that. But Miller once said, I think the tragic feeling is evoked in us when we are in the presence of a character who is ready to lay down his life, if need be, to secure one thing, his sense of personal dignity. Then another thing happened that I forgot about. But in 1956, June of 1956, Arthur Miller is subpoenaed to appear before the House Un-American Activities Committee, chaired by Senator Joseph McCarthy. So Miller was pressured to name fellow writers suspected of communist affiliations. Miller refused. Refusing to compromise his principles or betray anybody else, Miller stood firm at great personal risk to his career and was found guilty of contempt of Congress. That judgment was ultimately overturned in 1958. But it was still 2 years that he was found guilty of contempt. I'm saying all of that to say again, so what I found, what in my brain, in writing Death of a Salesman, I think Miller explored a fundamental question, right? Like, what is the true cost of living in a society that offers grand promises, like the American dream, yet offers no guarantees? Ultimately, this play, to me, examines both the relentless pursuit of achievement and the heartbreaking disappointment that comes along with the so-called American dream. So I went back and found Miller described this play as a tragedy of the common man. I centered the play on Willie Loman, who is an ordinary aging traveling salesman burdened by his heavy sample case. As covering his territory to secure orders grows more difficult, Willie's mind begins to slip, yet he clings to the belief that charm and optimism will bring him wealth. However, harsh realities continue to haunt him. He is ashamed of his inability to pay his bills and guilty about his infidelity. Struggling with failure, Willie retreats into memories and delusions, slowly losing touch with reality. I thought that his imperfect and being brought to ruin by his own flaws represented a vision of a modern 20th century tragic hero. That's Miller, not me, just saying. So while this play does to me read as an intimate family story, it spoke to me on a grander scale as a broader commentary on American society. Willie Loman functions as a symbol of it, reflecting the downfall of the American dream, rather than just merely the end of one salesman. I didn't realize, till I went back, that the play never specifies what product Willie sells. You never know what he is a salesman of. And that spoke more to me about anything else, is it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what he's selling. The point's still the same, you know. Anyway, I don't know why I did this for this episode, but I'll try not to do it anymore.
Don't do that anymore.
I'm not going to.
No.
I just said I'm not going to. Number 9, Animal Farm. Animal Farm. This is George Orwell's story of. I mean, we went over this a lot too. I'm looking through my notes and I'm like, what? Okay, but let me jump in and then I'll give you my notes. Andrea.
I just said an allegory done well. Like it.
Yeah.
It is scary how well, in my esteemed opinion, it is scary how well George Orwell saw the human race. And for some reason, Animal Farm, and I don't know why, always makes me Animal Farm and Lord of the Flies. I'm like, if I read those back to back, I would probably check myself in somewhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but I feel that they're a mirror to each other. It's just, I mean, and not because there's pigs. That's not why, yeah, but Animal Farm, I think it's brilliant the way he wrote it. I don't understand how people couldn't get it. But there's other books that people get that I'm still like, what? So yeah, it scares me how well he saw his fellow man.
Michelle?
Yeah, this one is again, this is gonna be real tough in a few minutes, because this one is also like the use of the language and how the language is used by the animals in this is the thing that I think I like the most about it, right? It's so he's handing it to you on a silver platter, but he's still letting you decide. Right.
Yeah.
I hate that both of these are the same year. And
I know.
That I fear I will have to choose between the two of them. It's so well done. And again, it's on every on every required
rightfully
reading.
so.
It's funny that you say that, because my notes are all about how difficult it was for Orwell to get this published. So you're right. It's on every reading list. It's everyone knows this book as well as the other, but this book. But this was rejected by multiple publishers, primarily due to wartime geopolitics and fear of offending the Soviet Union. Yeah. Because at the time, the UK was allied with Joseph Stalin against Nazi Germany. So when this book was finished in 1944, it was published in 1945, but publishers viewed the biting anti-Stalinist satire as untouchable. And so here's a couple of key ones. One we talked about, but I got to go back to it again. But Orwell's regular publisher, Victor Galland's, initially refused the manuscript outright. As a dedicated socialist, Galland's believed it was deeply unethical to criticize a crucial wartime ally. So just outright said no. Jonathan Cape originally agreed to publish the book, but then backed out after officially consulting the British Ministry of Information. Soviet spy, by the way, comes out later. a government official warned Cape, Soviet spy, that an anti-Soviet fable featuring pigs as rulers would heavily damage diplomatic relations. And then in America, I could not find this guy's name. There were several American publishers, but the book faced similar political pushback from left-wing American editors who sympathized with Stalin. In one famously short-sighted, non-political rejection, an American publisher turned it down on the basis that animal stories do not sell well in the United States. Here's what I wanted to get to. There was another publisher called Faber and Faber, and their head of publishing at the time turned this down in July of 1944. You may know his name.
Dean Faber.
T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot, working as the head publisher at Faber and Faber Publishing, turned down the book in July of 44. He called the fable distinguished, but ultimately unconvincing. Eliot criticized its Trotskyite undertones, famously noting that the pigs were simply the most intelligent and best qualified to run the farm, meaning the book lacked a constructive, positive vision. I have the letter.
Like a word. I was just going to say.
Addressing the author as Dear Orwell, Eliot, then a director of publishing at Faber and Faber, writes on 13 July 1944 that the publisher will not be acquiring Animal Farm for publication. Eliot went on to describe its strengths. We agree that it is a distinguished piece of writing, that the fable is very skillfully handled, and that the narrative keeps one's interest on its own plane. And that is something very few authors have achieved since Gulliver. Animal Farm, a beast fable that satirized Stalinism and depicted Stalin as a traitor, was rejected by at least 4 publishers before Eliot. So Eliot goes on to say, I think my own dissatisfaction with this apologue is that the effect is simply one of negation. It ought to excite some sympathy with what the author wants, as well as sympathy with his objections to something. The positive point of view, which I take to be generally Trotskyite, is not convincing. And after all, your pigs are far more intelligent than the other animals, and therefore the best qualified to run the farm. In fact, there couldn't have been an animal farm at all without them. So what we needed was not more communism, but more public-spirited pigs.
Public-spirited. Fuck you and your cat book.
That's why I did it.
You did, yeah. You knew what you were doing.
But Animal Farm goes on to be published by Secker and Warburg in August of 45 in the preface by Orwell, which this did not get printed until 1972, the preface that he wrote. He says he wrote the book. It was obvious that there would be great difficulty in getting it published. If publishers and editors exert themselves to keep certain topics out of print, it is not because they were frightened of prosecution, but because they were frightened of public opinion. In this country, intellectual cowardice is the worst enemy a writer or journalist has to face, and that fact does not seem to me to have had the discussion it deserves. I said all that to say 2 writers in a beef is like, you're going to get some good shit out of that.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I just thought it was funny. It was T.S. Eliot that turned it down at Faber and Faber. But all right, number 10, Goodnight Moon. Michelle.
No notes again. Well, yeah, it takes too long for that kid to go to bed.
Oh, we're back to that again.
But no, it's a classic. Like this is a book everybody gets for their kid when they're little or gets it as a gift at a baby shower, or it's a classic. It's perfect.
If I may, because I thought I'm coming back to you. Go ahead.
No, go.
You said something like this on the last episode about the kid takes an hour and a half to go to sleep or whatever. And what I thought about was, this is to me, and I'm probably again going to, but I can see myself in this situation, but not the book, but in actuality, where my grandchild, who, just stayed over a couple nights ago and is like far.
Hey, stall.
Before I go to bed, I have to say goodnight to everything in this room. That's the stall.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, you said, no. I still have the, whatever. And I was like, the genius for me, I could see this happening to me, and it would be a 2-hour bedtime.
Yeah.
And then, I'd have to explain to my grandchild's parents why they went to bed at 11.
They're so cranky today.
But it would happen to me.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's the stall
And to
to stay awake.
yeah.
That's why I think a great
Night cow who jumped over the moon.
Mhm.
Yeah, hour 10.
If you have a parent expecting that have a sense of humor, I think the best thing you can buy for them is Goodnight Moon
And
with Go the Fuck to Sleep.
mhm.
Those are the two. Those are great companion
Companion
pieces.
novels.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This I love, and it is I love the relaxing
Mhm.
cadence of it.
Mhm.
As it does kind of put you in a thing. Listen, Ann Carroll Moore, who was the head of the children's library at the New York Public
Yeah.
Library, did great things for children's literature. Fucking bitch when it came to this book.
So
Like-
loud and so wrong.
So wrong. And they did not carry it until the 25th anniversary of the publishing, which just gets me. And I'm like, Annie,
Insane.
which by the way, she was born Annie. I'm calling her Annie. Annie, don't be a fucking bitch like this. But she also said Charlotte's Web and Stuart Little were garbage books. So,
Yeah, so loud.
Annie, are you okay? But
Well, you
she
would
literally
sit on
had,
that.
she had a stamp. It just came to me. I don't know. It's crazy. She had a stamp that said, not recommended for purchase by expert. And I'm like you said, so few people, so wrong, so loud. This is, when we brought it up last time, I started fucking crying about this book. It is beautifully, it's beautiful. I love it. It's great. 10 out of 10. Let's vote.
Okay, everybody take a deep breath. Here we go. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Number 1, The Lottery. Andrea.
Yeah.
Michelle.
Yes.
Number 2, 1984. Michelle.
Yes.
Andrea.
Yes.
Number 3, Cry the Beloved Country. Andrea.
No.
Michelle.
No.
Number 4, The Naked and the Dead. Michelle.
No.
Andrea.
No.
Number 5, All the King's Men. Andrea.
No.
Michelle.
No.
This is going to be easy. You all are going to agree.
I don't
No,
know. This hurts so. It hurts.
6, Cannery Row. Michelle.
Yes.
Andrea.
Yes.
7, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. Andrea.
Oh, God, this hurts. I can't breathe, Mama. No.
Michelle.
No.
Number 8, Death of a Salesman. Michelle.
Yes.
Andrea.
It's in the sea. Yes.
Number 9, Animal Farm. Andrea.
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
Well, that's 5. Goodnight Moon is out.
It is. I'm so sorry.
You two are just as bad as the librarian. What's her name?
No, we are not.
Dare you.
You take it back.
You're not putting this in the capsule.
How dare you?
Okay, so we have our top 5.
Well, we have never agreed.
I know. I know.
Okay, so number 1, The Lottery. Number 2, 1984. Number 3, Cannery Row. Number 4, Death of a Salesman. Number 5, Animal Farm.
God.
I only waffled on Cannery Row and Goodnight Moon.
Oh, I waffled. Mine was between Death of a Salesman and Goodnight Moon, which are so similar. I was like, I can pick either one.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all.
That's
Hopefully,
That was
hopefully.
fantastic, Sean. What's our next?
Can I finish?
No.
Okay,
I
y'all.
want to do that on the air.
Okay, y'all. Hopefully you all enjoyed that. Got something out of it. Maybe you found a new book to read. Maybe you completely disagree with our top 10 or our top 5. So hit us up on socials. Let us know what you think. Just remember, we regret nothing. You're up.